As I said, thank you everyone for coming. We're really excited to celebrate Islamic Heritage Month with the Muslims of Dufferin. They really made this event possible today. Today we're featuring 3 speakers, and that is Imam Yehya Soliman, Soha Soliman, and Dr. Mustafa Khattab. So we have our 3 panelists here today. I'm going to let them kind of introduce themselves and speak a bit more to who they are as we go around. I do have a number of questions to get to. I don't know if we'll get to all of them today, but hopefully we can get to a few of them. When I'm answering the questions to each of our panel members, I do invite, of course, the person who's answering the question to answer first. But if one of the other panelists has something to add or would like to have a bit more dialogue or discussion together, I welcome the dialogue. So feel free to jump in whenever it seems appropriate to you. And I will, where should we start? Soha, you're the biggest on my screen. How about we start with you? Please introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited for this event. And I'm really honored to be on a panel with Sheikh Mustafa Khattab and Sheikh Yehya Suleiman. So my name is Soha Soliman. I am very passionate about advocating for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I would say that I'm a pretty dedicated Muslima, and I'm really proud to be a Muslim. I live in Shelburne, Ontario. I have a lot of cultures at home. I'm half Egyptian, half Afghan, but I've got a little mix of everything. And on the personal side, I really enjoy swimming and baking. And although I don't do a lot of it, I really enjoy painting and getting my creative side. And I get that from my dad because he's an interior designer.
Ooh, fantastic. And can you maybe expand on your role, I guess, with the Muslims of the Muslim Student Association? It's with Center Dufferin?
Yes, it's at Center Dufferin District High School. So I am the president of the MSA there, and I'm really happy because our team has expanded this year and grown. So I'm able to work with some really, really passionate people who have a lot of great intellect in them.
That's fantastic. Look forward to hearing more about it. Thank you, Soha. Mustafa, would you like to go next?
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us. And I'm the Imam of the Anatolia Islamic Center in Mississauga, a member of the Canadian Council of Imams. And as Imam Yehya knows, I'm extremely busy. But whenever I'm free, I have some free time. I translate, and I also do some cooking at home. I help my wife with cooking, and I plant some, I have a little garden in the backyard. I plant trees because I was born a farmer before I went to school. Okay. So this is what I do.
Fantastic. Wonderful. And would you like to expand on maybe the series that you have translated, and that's the Clear Quaran series? Would you like to expand a bit on that? And we were very fortunate here at the Orangeville Public Library to receive some donated copies from the Muslims of Dufferin. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. So basically, there are so many other translations of the Quran. I'm not the first one who ever translated the Quran, but basically there is this attitude towards translating the Quran that whenever someone translated the Quran, they would feel that if it's in Shakespearean English, if it's old and archaic, this will give it a holy flavor or a sacred flavor, right? And this is why you still see a lot of verily, thou, and all that stuff, which makes it extremely difficult for a lot of people to understand. And we know that, in this day and age, you need an easy translation that is accessible, that is relevant. And this is why I did several translations. So there's this original one. Then we have one for children, which has been edited by kids between the ages, I'm not sure if you can see it, between the ages of 7 to 12. I've been trying to remove the background, but for some reason it's always there. And there's also this dictionary of the Quran, because most Muslims, at least 85% of Muslims, they don't speak the Arabic language. Right. So I put together this dictionary. The Quran is made up of 2,000 words in Arabic, and they appear in different forms. So once you master those 2,000 words, you'll be able to understand the Quran in Arabic. So there is these different projects to help everyone, Muslim and non-Muslim, to read the Quran and to understand this final message.
That's fantastic. Thank you for that great overview. So now I'll hand it over to Imam Suleiman, and if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much for having me with you guys today in this beautiful discussion. It's a fortunate for me to be with Dr. Mustafa Khattab and with you all. My name is Yehya Soliman. I'm the leader of the Muslim community in Dufferin County, as well as I'm the member of the Canadian Council of Imams, and I'm a chaplain in the Headwater Hospital as the spiritual care center. And as Dr. Mustafa Khattab, he liked cooking. I like cooking too so much. I think all Egyptians like cooking, and
fantastic,
and gardening and stuff like that. Thank you very much for having me with you guys today. Yeah.
You're very welcome. So I think this leads in nicely. My first question is for you, actually, and I'll ask now because there's some people in the room that are maybe not familiar with what Islamic Heritage Month is. So for those that are here today to learn, can you tell us what your role as an imam in the community here in Dufferin County?
First of all, the word imam, it's an Arabic word. It's coming from a person who provides Islamic religious service in the mosque. The person who lead the prayers, deliver the sermon, conduct religious ceremonies, and basically provide religious and spiritual guidance. But to be honest, my role has gone a step further, a little bit from imam as a leader, a Muslim leader. When I came to Dufferin County, there is no mosque. There was no mosque for the Muslims to practice and to fulfill their religious obligations. I established 3 mosques. I'm the founder of these 3 mosques. One of them, it's Muslims of Dufferin, Orangeville, Muslims of Shelburne Center, and we established recently Muslims of Allison. And I'm providing like a leadership and the representation to the Muslim community in Dufferin County with the beautiful Muslim community and the non-Muslim community in Dufferin County. Yeah. This
That's
is a
fantastic.
little quick, yeah.
Does anyone want to jump in, or do they have anything more to add? I think that was pretty thorough. Thank you for answering that question.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, so I will go around the table, so to speak. And next is for Mustafa. For those who are here today to learn as well, could you maybe expand on the difference between Islam and Muslim?
Okay, so Islam basically is the religion, and from an Islamic perspective, there's one God, one humanity, and there has always been one message that was delivered by all the prophets of God, from Adam to Muhammad, with all the prophets who are mentioned in the Bible, like Noah and Moses and Jesus. All the prophets are mentioned, and every one of them said exactly the same thing: have faith in God and be a good guy, be a good person, right? You'll find this in the 10 Commandments and so on and so forth. So this is what Islam is all about: having a better relationship with the Creator and a better relationship with the creation. A Muslim, whenever you see a word in the Arabic language with the letter mim, ma, like the M letter, it means the one who does something. So just like, for example, the word farmer, so whenever you add the ER in the English language, it means that this is the person who does this act. So a Muslim is someone who does Islam, someone who submits to God, and someone who does good and has a good relationship with the Creator and His creation. So a Muslim is someone who does Islam, is the person himself.
Fantastic, thank you. That was really clear, and I love the active. That's a good way to remember, active.
Yes.
Piece to it. Wonderful. Okay, does anyone else have anything to add to that question before I hop on to another one? No? Okay.
I don't think anyone can add after the term Mustafa Khattab.
Fair enough. Okay, so Soha, Can you describe what kind of work the Muslim Student Association at C.D.D.H.S. Does?
Yeah, of course. So essentially, our mission is that we strive to create a welcoming and supportive environment for Muslim students. And some parts of our vision is that we really hope that Muslim students will be able to practice Islam freely and feel empowered and spread that contentment and that peace, and also feel that with their non-Muslim peers as well, and to really help. I think one of our biggest focuses, especially at Center Dufferin District High School, is to really break down that negative stereotype. And so that's been a huge focus of ours as well. And it lines a lot with our mission, vision, and our values. And our values are actually some of the core values of Islam, such as mutual respect, faith, integrity, peace, things like that. Those are stuff that we really implement in our social media, in our meetings, and also in school environment. And some of the things we've done have been really great, like having our Black History Month series, doing the Iftar Ramadan drive-thrus, and a little shameless plug, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at C.D.D.H.S MSA. And you can see all of the great work that we've done. We've reached out to Muslim women, and a really common stereotype is, are Muslim women oppressed? And so we reached out to some Muslim women and said, hey, do you want to be a part of this video and really explain, how do you feel wearing the hijab? How do you feel being a practicing Muslim woman? And so having a video series like that, or explaining what Ramadan means to you. So having those little series, because on social media, when you see posts that have a lot of words and are really wordy, people just skip through it. So having videos like that, especially during COVID times, are really interactive. So I would say that's what we do. We try to spread peace and love. And of course, our focus are Muslim students. We want them to feel content and peaceful, but also spreading da'wah, or the message of Islam, and what Islam really is to our non-Muslim peers and teachers and anybody else in the community.
That's fantastic. And where can we find some of those videos then? Are those on the Instagram account, or do you have a separate, like a YouTube account for those?
No, so we don't have a YouTube account. We're not at that point yet, but hopefully we will. But it's on our Instagram and Twitter.
Fantastic. That's great. So if anyone's interested, please head that way. Wonderful. Okay, I will continue going around the table here. Imam Suleiman, what is the Holy Quran and what does it mean to humanity?
The Holy Quran is the word of God Almighty. It's revealed upon Muhammad, our Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, through Angel Jibreel, may peace be upon him, over 1400 years ago. As Dr. Khattab, he mentioned, it's not only for Arabs, or a specific group, it's for all humanity, for all human being. What it means for humanity is, the Quran, it's the connection between us and our Creator, to know that what the Creator wants from us, and to help us to be successful in this world and in the life after death. This is a little summarizing about what's the Quran, and I think Dr. Khattab can add good things in this matter too, if you want.
Yes, if you think of a story that you open your eyes one day and you find yourself on an airplane, but you don't remember ever going to the airport. So you open your eyes, you found yourself there, and you start to ask the question, who put us here, why, and where is this plane going? And a lot of people don't seem to know the answers, or they don't seem to care because they are busy, beef or chicken on the airplane and watching the movie. And so basically the Quran provides answers to those questions. So we open our eyes, we found ourselves on this plane or planet Earth that is floating in the air. And who put us here? Our Creator. For what? To do good things. And eventually this plane will reach the destination when we move to the next life and stand in front of God for judgment. So this is what the Quran is all about, the purpose of life, why we are here, and who put us here, and where are we going after we leave this world. So it gives you this overview.
Excellent, thank you. I really like that it's a map almost, right?
Yes.
Very nice. Okay, Dr. Khattab, this next question's for you. What inspired you to author the Clear Quran, and how do you feel the Clear Quran has impacted Islamic heritage?
Okay, so a little bit of background and history, the Prophet passed away in the year 632 of the Common Era. So the Quran was revealed about 1500 years ago. And for over 1300 years, the Quran had never been translated into English by a Muslim. So most of the translations come from Orientalists and missionaries. And this explains why till this day, in some of the old translations, we still see some mistranslations and words like infidels and holy war. And we don't have this stuff in the Quran. We don't have the word infidel or holy war and so on and so forth. So these were mistranslations from Orientalists. So now when you look at many translations, we have somewhere between 150 to 200 translations that have been produced over the last 100 years, give or take. So every year we have at least 2 new translations of the Quran. Now the problem is many of the people who translated the Quran, Muslim or non-Muslims, they lack the training and the qualifications to translate, right? So you have to have mastery over Arabic, English, translation, Islamic studies, Quranic studies. But some of those who translated the Quran, they had none of the above, right? So basically their works are filled with mistranslations and so what we did basically, we tried to make the translation more accessible and more accurate, and we tried to reflect some of the beauty and some of the flow of the Arabic. And we had a big team of about 100 people who were involved in the making of this book. Muslims, non-Muslims, men, women, old, young, everybody was involved in the making of this book because it's for everyone, so it should be easy and accessible. And I know a lot of verses from the Quran are taken out of context. So basically, I provided historical context. I tried to explain some of the controversial verses by cross-referencing verses because the Quran explains itself. And sometimes I cited some verses from the Bible to connect the ideas between the 2 revelations. And I think when you make the book more accessible, you clarify some of the misunderstandings, I think it helps us see that the things that bring us together are more than the things that pull us apart. I think this is very clear from reading the book.
Excellent, thank you. And I guess I do know that Soha and Imam Suleiman, they were both editors, I guess. They were part of that team. So I would invite either of you, if you have something to say about that process, please. I welcome it.
So I go ahead, ladies first.
Mine is going to be short and sweet. I mean, the process was amazing. Sheikh Mustafa did a beautiful job. Like, he just has an amazing mind. Like, it's just so unique. Really, it's one in like many billions. So mashallah, mashallah. Like, it was just, I mean, reading it was just a breeze. Like, you really couldn't find anything. So really, really, like, hats off to him. He's a great, great writer, mashallah.
I think I saw so many copies of the translations, not just because Dr. Mustafa Khattab is here, no, really, for real. I never saw an easy and very like something very informative and collect everything that you want in the Quranic words and verses and everything in this book. Honestly, it's a beautiful, the illustrator that he have done with the good way, with the colorful, because as a human being, we like colorful stuff. We like to see something very colorful. When you open the Quran or the book or the dictionary, and you see like stories with pictures with these things, you're so excited to read it and to learn more and more in this book. This is one of the things that I can say about. May God bless him and grant him strength, and we're waiting for more and more from him.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. I guess hence the name Clear Quran. You made it. It is what it is, right?
Yes, and this book is very special because I believe it's the first translation of the Quran ever completed and published in Canada. So it's a Canadian translation.
Very unique. So I guess in that second part of the question, what's the impact on Islamic heritage? That's the impact. one of the impacts, of course, is that it's one of a kind. It's the first to do that, right?
Yes, it's accessible and relevant and easy to understand. And I think this we as a community, we want to be understood, because if you follow the news and the media and even the movie industry, there are a lot of misunderstandings and misconceptions. So we want to be understood. And I think this is one of the goals that this project tries to achieve.
Thank you for sharing that. That's great. Okay, so we'll skip on to our next question if everyone's had their say there.
Good.
Soha, how is the Clear Quran important for youth, especially those who do not speak the Arabic language?
I think that's been actually covered very well in our previous answers, but just covering that youth perspective, I think it's very important because, like Sheikh Mustafa said, it doesn't really have, all those like really, those really hard, 1800 English words that are just really hard to comprehend. You don't want to come from English class and then look forward to reading the Quran and you see that same thing and you're very frustrated and you just close the book, right? So as youth, you're really able to, especially since our minds are not really developed and mature enough to be able to make sense of such words, when you see a clear translation that has really, not every day, but just formal, clear language that you're able to understand, you really feel and develop a connection to the beauty of your religion and to the beauty of Islam, and you're able to understand things. And when you're able to understand things, you're able to connect with them and make sense of them, and then you take that understanding and that connection and you practice it and you implement it in your everyday life, which is the whole purpose of all of us on this earth as a Muslim, is to just follow the Quran and to practice the rules. And also when they're able to understand such clear translations, they're able to fulfill one of the biggest obligations on a Muslim, which is spreading the message of Islam as well. So they have that understanding and they're able to spread truth and not corruption and not those mistranslations that we talked about, right? And we're making sure we're spreading the right thing. And I think it also really helps provide pride to them, right? When they really see what it's about. I see that in my school a lot, and the youth, and I'm sure everybody can agree on this, is that a lot of Muslim kids are so embarrassed and shameful, and they always try to hide behind everything, and they never mention the fact that they're Muslim simply because of the Islamophobia and the bullying that they will receive and all the negative backlash. But having something so beautiful and so articulate like Sheikh Mustafa's translation, they're able to come out of that light, and that's something that helped me. So yeah.
Fantastic answer, thank you. So it makes it more accessible and it's inspiring, which is wonderful. Okay, so moving on. Imam Suleiman, can you share with us one of your favorite moments in Islamic history or heritage?
Yes. One of my favorite Islamic history moments, that when our beloved Muhammad, may peace be upon him, migrated from Mecca to Medina, and he established the first mosque at this time for the Muslims. This is my inspiration to establish the first mosque here in Dufferin County, to where there is there is no any mosque at this time. This give me like a big courage to do something for the Muslims and to tell the Muslims you're not behind. Don't feel that you're left behind. No, we're here. We're supporting each other. We're standing beside each other. And also a big thank at this moment for the Muslim community in Dufferin County. Really, they're amazing people. I love them all. I love them all, and I thank them all. Really. Yeah.
Fantastic. So I would invite our other panelists, if you have a favorite moment in Islamic history, you're welcome to share.
Yeah, I'll share a quick one. I always believe in the power of one. You have heard of Rosa Parks and what happened in the US and everything. So back in 1938, the first mosque in Canada was established in Edmonton. I was fortunate enough to be the imam of that mosque for 2 years, 2011 and 2012. So the effort to build the first mosque in Canada was led by a woman. Helwa Himdan, originally from Lebanon. So she led the effort and she raised the funds. We're talking about 1938. And the amazing thing is the second largest donation came from the Jewish community in Edmonton, 1938, right? A long time ago. So when people came together as a community, Muslims and non-Muslims, and Helwa Himdan, this lady, had the vision to lead the Muslim community and establish the first mosque, I think amazing things can happen. Yes.
That's a really great story. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And Soha, did you have one that you would like to share by chance?
I think there's too many favorite moments for me to share, but just a kind of general concept or a general character trait that I see in a lot of very very significant Muslim scholars or something like that. Like they're very, very, very forgiving. And one of the series I watched with my family, it's about one of the scholars, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. It's a great series. It was a Ramadan series, so there's 30 episodes. And, you know, all the pain and the torture that he goes through. And then after, you know, during his recovery and he's in so much pain, he still prays to God for their forgiveness. And when people in the moment are angry and they make a bad prayer, you know, he tells them to stop and to pray for their forgiveness and mentions that he forgives them. And I've seen that in a series of movies and even lectures and real life people, modern day people that I listen to. They're just so forgiving. The religion of Islam, like even, you know, when every chapter that we read in the Quran, like every surah, we start with saying that God is merciful, right? So, we have this series in Ramadan in the Muslims of Dufferin where we read, and that actually Sheikh Mustafa's book, or translation, the Clear Quaran, is a part of that. And it says that God is merciful so many times over there, and God is forgiving. And so to see that trait, you know, that Muslims are forgiving is really awesome. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Excellent. Okay, so that stemmed from that question. Sorry, I found my place here. Our next question is for Dr. Khattab, and it is, can you share with us one of the most memorable experiences you have had as an author?
Well, this is a difficult one, but I can share a quick story with you. So I was born in Egypt, 1977, in a small village in the Delta, and I was not supposed to go to school because everybody was a farmer in the village and education was not popular back then. And my father just wanted me to be another farmer, but my mother stood up for me and she put up a big fight for me, and eventually I went to school. We didn't have a school in the village, but we had it in another village, so we used to go back and forth. No school buses, of course. And so eventually I went to college to study Islam, and I completed the memorization of the entire Quran at the age of 12 in Arabic. Then I, graduated high school. I went to college to study Islam in English, and my English was horrible. So because in high school, we didn't have the best English teachers. So I'll just give you a quick flavor. So, for example, they taught us in high school to say stomach. Like if you go to the doctor and you say you have a problem, my stomach, they wouldn't know what you're talking about. Stomach. My shawarma is delicious. I have extensive experience. So when I went to college, I had to struggle to be able to learn English, and eventually, with prayers and dedication and hard work, eventually it paid back. And after 3-4 years, I graduated college, the top student in my class, and shortly after I was appointed as a professor to teach Islamic studies in English at Al-Azhar, which is the most prestigious school of Islamic studies in the world. So my specialization is Islamic studies in English and translation. So this is my field, right? And this is why after I came here and I saw the mistranslations of the Quran and the misconceptions, so I decided to do something about it. And this is why I started this project with imams and community members like Imam Yehya and Soha and many others. Alhamdulillah, just to make it accessible and and relevant, and to make it easy for people to understand the Quran and to see the message of the Quran.
Now, and nowadays you should say pumpkins, not bumpkins.
That's a really inspiring story. Wow. Congratulations. That's a lot of the accomplishments that you just described in that short little snippet there. Thank you. So our next question is for Soha, and I'm going to bring it back to the MSA. And why is it important for youth, including organizations like the MSA, to celebrate Islamic Heritage Month? So October here in Canada is Islamic Heritage Month, so we're closing out the month here. But what's the youth perspective on it, Soha?
I think it's okay. There's two reasons. The first one is it's very, very important and significant to celebrate Islamic Heritage Month for youth. Number one, because a lot of the youth go to schools and they go to university and colleges where majority of the time they are the minority. And so when they see when they see their religion and when they see their practices and their identity being recognized by Canada, right, one of the biggest countries in the world, and by different universities such as University of Toronto and different places like that, they're able to add to that, right? They have that courage and they have that bravery, and they see that, hey, like there's people who actually care about me and they care about my identity and they want to get to know me, right? There's a lot of people who are very ignorant, but when they come to an understanding that ignorance is wrong and Islam is not what it seems, they want to learn more. And so it gives them an opportunity to speak about Islam beyond prayers, Muslim Islamophobia, right? They're able to talk more about really what's in the Quran and say that there's narrations by the prophets and all the other different scholars, and to really provide the beauty of Islamic heritage, and not just, I feel like Muslims or specifically youth who are passionate are always focused on breaking stereotypes and fighting Islamophobia. And because of that, sometimes we lose ourselves and we lose what Islam really is and the beauty of the Quran. So I think it's very important for them to celebrate that, because then they're able to share beyond Islamophobia, right?
Mm-hmm. Wonderful answer, thank you. So it's pairing that advocacy, but with the celebrating your culture and your faith as well, which is wonderful. Would any of our other panelists have anything to add to that? I think Soha really said it all, but
yeah, she has done a good job, mashallah.
Fantastic. So kind of in a similar vein with keeping with the Islamic Heritage Month, Imam Suleiman, what are things that non-Muslim community members can do to help support and celebrate Islamic heritage during October and beyond?
I'm gonna beg from Soha's talking a little bit about, she spoke about ignorance and Islamophobia, and non-Muslim community members can help by educating themselves about teachings of Islam and contributions of Muslims to humanity in history. The biggest cause of Islamophobia and the biggest cause of Islamophobia is ignorance and misconceptions, which, if declared, it will be the biggest help. These areas, that the Islamophobia and ignorance and misconceptions, these things, if declared properly from everyone, then it will be a biggest help for the Muslim community. Then just a request from everyone who never read about Islam, and he never heard about Islam, he never know about Islam, just my advice, just educate yourself a little bit in things like that, and life will be easy around us, and we will have a very healthy environment around us. Yeah.
Thank you. That's helpful information. And of course, I think having those types of materials available, like the Clear Quran, it's also helpful, right? So I'm hopeful that we can build our collection in that area as well here at the Orangeville Public Library to help with that too. So in a similar vein, I guess, Dr. Khattab, does interfaith dialogue or cooperation impact Islamic heritage and or your work as an author?
Of course, the more you know about people, the more you will appreciate them and their culture. We have this saying in Arabic that man is the enemy of the unknown. So if you don't know someone, you will mistrust them, you will not appreciate them, and you will always be afraid of them. So there's always this invitation to read about other cultures and other peoples and their contributions, really. So when I look at human civilization and I see it's like a pool, and all peoples and all cultures, they have contributed to this pool. Whether we're talking about the ancient Chinese, Indians, Europeans, and Muslims as well. So basically, when you read about Islamic contributions to math and science and all these different things, and you read things about like great Muslim women like Fatima al-Fihri, this Tunisian lady who founded the first university in the world in Morocco. She was a lady and she started a university from scratch. And you read about different contributions, even till this day, Canadian Muslims, they contribute in so many different ways, in education, in medicine, in politics, everywhere you go, right? So I think this is something that is highlighted, is appreciated when people know about the contributions of the Muslim community. And through my work in interfaith, there's something that I've come to realize after so many years. And this is so deep and so profound that when you learn more about people from different cultures and different faith, you realize that you have more in common with someone from a different culture, a different faith, than you have with someone from a different group within your own faith. Just think about it and you will come up with so many insights and so many examples. So again, we have so many things in common. The problem is we don't know much about each other, about each other's background, civilization, and contributions. So basically, I think through the Islamic History Month and sharing ideas and talking to people, from different faith and cultures, I think we will appreciate each other as Canadians.
Yes, thank you. I think we're doing that today, right? We're learning, we're coming together, we're talking, and we're doing a bit of that today, which is fantastic. Did either of our other panelists have anything to add to that? No.
Not much.
Dr. Khattab, he did cover it very well. So thank you.
Yes.
We're coming to our last question here.
Yeah, sorry about just a little thing that we just need to say that all of us, we are living under one sky. We are breathing the same air. All of us, we have to have the kindness, the love, and the mercy for each other. And if we are forget and forgive and continue our life will be awesome.
Yes, very well said.
Thank you.
So we're coming to our last question here, and this one's for Soha. And then after this, we'll maybe open it up and have more dialogue with our attendees. But what is something that you would like to see happen in Dufferin County to help celebrate and bring further awareness to Islamic culture?
I think I'd like to see words, and I'd like to see support. So doing things like a flag raising ceremony, right? Like that is so simple, but it really means the world, right? And it sees that, as we're growing, people are seeing us and they recognize us. And although they may not understand us and who we are, they're welcoming us. So I think having things like discussions or flag raising ceremonies or posting, hey, happy Islamic Heritage Month. Like, I'm not asking you to just back-to-back post and every day go out of your way and do crazy things, but I think just really providing that support and just saying, if you see me walking by and you see somebody's wearing a hijab, be like, hey, I saw on the Shelburne town screen that it's Islamic Heritage Month, so happy Islamic Heritage Month, right? So providing those kinds of words and for the town to be to be displaying that on their screens or to issuing official statements. Because when you see, such big and influential people and the top people doing something a lot of the times, and sometimes it can be a good thing, sometimes it can be a bad thing, but in this case it's a good thing to follow the footsteps of the leader, right? And seeing that okay, if our leader is embracing and welcoming diversity and he's recognizing these Muslims, maybe we should too, and then we can go ahead and educate ourselves. And having collaborations with the Orangeville Library, like that's really great, or with the museum, or like at the MSA, I always try my best, me and my team, to make sure we're having interactive posts and having posts that help break down stereotypes, which is, I think, our main line of work that needs to be done here in Dufferin County. And so by having those kinds of statements, flag raising ceremonies, little comments like that, we're able to break that barrier before we can further continue with all the happiness that can come ahead.
Thank you. That was a great answer. So it's really visibility and having representation and spreading it throughout the community. So it takes one gesture, but it's that trickle down sometimes, right? Wonderful. Did either of our other panelists have anything to add to that question before we move to discussing with our greater audience?
I am adding a word to Soha. We need to have an action. All of us. It's easy to talk. It's easy to advertise, but it's difficult to translate it to action. We need everything in our life to do it as an action. Even if a Muslim is practicing Islam, he needs to do it, to show it as an action. Don't tell me too much about Islam, but show me the Islam in your actions. Don't tell me too much about Christianity, but show it in your actions. Don't tell me about any religion in the world, but show it in your actions. Because any religion, there is no religion in the world not giving us advise us with and giving us like a religious guidance to be bad people. No, it's giving to a merciful people, to a kind people, to a nice people. This is my little thing, that we need to be a people of action more than people of talking and things. We need to be a people of actions. Yeah,
that's a great addition. Oftentimes actions speak louder than words, right?
Yes, 100%.
Wonderful. And Dr. Khattab, did you have any final words before we transition into questions from our audience?
Well said. They covered everything.
Perfect. Well, before we go over into questions, I just want to say thank you so much. That was a really wonderful discussion. We covered all of our questions, which was impressive. And I think it was good to get insights from all three of you, and thank you. I think round of applause if everyone wants to unmute themselves and turn on their cameras, please.
The same here too. I would like to thank Orangeville Library for your generosity and your kindness, for your welcoming to us. We never ever feel that we're strange, we're different. We always feel welcomed by you guys. Thank you very, very, very much to you all, each and everyone in the management, in the team, everyone from up to down. We really thank you very much. And also I extend my thank to Dr. Khattab and everyone, and special thank to the Muslim community in Dufferin County.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderfully said, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I will invite everyone to turn on their cameras if they'd like to, and turn on their mics if they'd like to speak. And I think we really do owe a round of applause to our panelists.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So the chat is open if anyone would like to prefer, I guess, to put their questions into the chat. Otherwise, you're welcome to take the stand and ask a question.
I'll just start. It's Shannon here at the library. I just want to thank you for this fantastic discussion. I learned so much and just so inspired by all three of you and the work that you're doing. And you really are practicing what you preach. And like you said, and I think all three of you said in this different ways, that we are more alike than we are different. And it's just taking that opportunity to learn. And when we do learn about other faiths, just as one example, we realize all of the crossover between all of those faiths. And it's just kindness and respect and love and peace. And at the end of the day, that's what we all want. And to achieve that, and to achieve these communities that we all feel safe in and loved and respected, is through conversations like this and through being open-minded and learning. So thank you. Thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for practicing what you preach. And Soha, I mean, being so young in high school, I think having the courage, like you said, so many of your peers feel scared to show their true selves because of Islamophobia. And instead you have not just, had the courage for yourself, but you've had the courage to empower your peers and all the non-Muslim community that you go to high school with, to educate them and to learn with them. So inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Shannon. Thanks for your kind words and for being here and coming with an open mind and an open heart, and for taking care of all the technical stuff. Thank you.
I'm Carol. And
Thank you
I'm
very much,
excited to
Shannon.
be
Thank you guys for everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.
Carol, did you have a question?
I'm not a question. I want to thank you for doing this and for offering this. I'm so pleased to be here. And I think I understood you to say it's going to be on a YouTube. Is it also so that we can point other people to it? Because it's a message that needs to be here in the county and beyond. But it'd be so good to spread this in Dufferin County more and more. So I'm really glad to do that. After, let me know when the YouTube's up, and I will be pointing people in the right direction.
Thank you, Carol.
It's delightful to. It's really delightful to connect with and hear, and I'm looking forward to being able to read the book sometime. It's a wonderful gift.
Thanks, Carol. Thank you so much.
By the way, of anyone who's listening to us or joining us, if you guys need any copies of the Clear Quran, anytime you can contact our mosque, and we will deliver it to you to your home. We can mail it to you actually. For any book with any language that you like, for Islamic books, we will deliver it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's fantastic that you're making that accessible. And yes, Carol, we are recording today. We will, once we get it fine-tuned and make sure that it's good to go, we'll put it up on our YouTube channel. And what we usually do is send it out to the people who have registered today. So we have all your email addresses, and we'll make sure that it's there when it's there. So it looks like we have a couple hands up. So Mohammed, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, absolutely. For starters, thank you so much to you, Miss Lauren, the rest of the team at Orangeville Public Library for putting this all together. It's amazing to have such a nice civilized discourse on this topic. Now, having said that, outside of this bubble, it's the unfortunate reality that things may not be as easygoing or smooth sailing or as open-minded. You go on social media and you get more than your fair share of all sorts of different things that are coming up. So this is my question to each, if I can be afforded to ask each of them, Sister Soha, Imam Yehya, and Dr. Mustafa Khattab, in your opinion, based on your experience, what would you say is like the #1 misconception about Islam? As they say, you don't judge a car by its driver. So if we were to say Islam is the car and Muslims are the driver, maybe a lot of people tend to judge the car by the driver. So if we were to address the car, Islam itself, what would you say is the #1 misconception that you've come across?
Great question.
Dr. Khattab, first thing.
So I think the treatment of women in Islam is one of the top misconceptions. And whenever you read the Quran, you realize that min dhakarin aw untha, it always talks about males and females. And the Quran makes it clear that men and women are equal before God and before the law. It promises them the same reward for the same actions. There is a chapter in the Quran named after Mary, the mother of Jesus. And so basically, by reading the Quran, you realize that it puts a lot of emphasis on the status of women, their share in inheritance, things related to marriage and issues in the marriage. So everything is covered, like the rights and the responsibilities and so on and so forth. So we know that Islam gave women the right to inheritance, the right to education, the right to own their own, financial, to own their own wealth, and so on and so forth. By just looking at the world today, and if some women are denied some of those rights, like if they were not allowed to drive a car in one country, if they were not allowed to go to school in another country, or if they were not allowed to get a share of inheritance like my mother in the village, it's not because of Islam, it's because of the lack of Islam, right? So Islam gave women those rights, but they were denied by people who didn't know anything about the faith because they didn't go to school and they didn't study. And now for outsiders who don't know much about Islam, they confuse the religion of Islam with local cultures in those countries. So they think that Islam is to blame, even though that Islam is against those practices. So I think with a little bit of reading and understanding, we realize that Islam has done amazing things for women historically. Like the wife of the Prophet Khadija, she was a businesswoman and she hired him to work for her, and so on and so forth. So basically, there's so much to learn. And historically, Islam gave the women the right to vote in elections. I know in North America in the 1920s, women were still struggling to have votes in elections, and so on and so forth. And today, as we speak, really, I'm not trying to be, but when you look at the Muslim world, yes, there are some abuses which are wrong, of course, but there are some, great Muslim women who have made a lot of contributions. And as we speak, there are some countries in Africa, in Asia, where women actually have been elected as president and prime minister in their own countries. And we still need to see something like this in the US, for example, to be the president, Mrs. President, so there's a long way to go, and the like equal pay and so on and so forth. There's still a lot of work to do, right? It's easy to talk, but again, when you come to reality, you feel like there's a lot that needs to be done for equality and for equal treatment, right? Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say something because Sheikh Mustafa actually took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say that too. And thank you, Brother Muhammad, for that really amazing question. Like in Islam, basically, my money's my money and your money's our money. And to don't judge Islam by Muslims, but judge Islam by the Quran, right? The clear Quran, or by the narrations of the Prophet, or by really authentic, verified sources, right? I mean, of course, humans are representations of different things, right? Like, especially for people who are not so open-minded to open the Quran one day and just read it, they're going to look at Muslims, and sometimes Muslims aren't the best representation of Islam because of their misunderstandings and their misconceptions, and being really hard-headed and stubborn and mixing culture with religion. But another big misconception is that Islam is barbaric and it's uncivilized and things are not modern and blah, 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 and things like that. And that is just so incredibly false, really. Of course, there are certain aspects because Islam was revealed in a time where, I mean, 1500 years ago. I don't even think I need to explain that, right? But nothing about the religion is uncivilized or barbaric. In fact, it was the first religion to actually ever give Muslim or women in general their rights, and to bring about civilization and to really dismantle barbarism. And I think that's a misconception that people really need to just look into things like the Clear Quran to really understand, because there is just so much to cover, and my answer couldn't possibly do that. But from things to women's rights, to education, to, Islam teaches us so many things, so many etiquettes on how to speak to your brothers and sisters in faith, or to other people that you see across the street, how to behave with your mom and your dad, with your grandparents, how to eat, how to use the restroom, how to sit down, how to everything. You are never left wondering, how am I supposed to be a human or a good Muslim in this world? And all of those etiquettes that we are taught are, when you look into it, you say that you really just feel so good about yourself, and you feel classy, and people don't think about Islam or about any religion like that. And I think we need to take that stereotype. I think every human has that in their head where religions are old and they're not civilized, and that's not the case at all. They're there for a reason. And if you really believe in the one true God, then you should understand that God is all-knowing, and he's gonna give his creation what they need. So that's a huge thing. And just to conclude it again, Islam is not barbaric. It is not uncivilized. In fact, it brings, you know, the dismantling of those things to our world. And I'm very proud to be one of the people who practice that.
Thank you, Mr. Maxwell. Thank you for this heavy question for everyone. Actually, I'm going to take from Dr. Khattab and Soha's talking, and I explain one thing. Like, if me as a Muslim behave a wrong behavior or do a wrong action, don't blame Islam. Islam is a complete religion, but blame me as a human. I'm mistaken. All of us, we are sinners. Each and every human being who commits sin, he commits sin, she commits sin. But the best of the sinners, the people who repent to God and back from their sin and repent back and realize this is wrong. This is not right. Islam, as Soha said, advised us to be kind and generous and nice with your neighbors, no matter what your neighbors do for you. Didn't say be with your relatives. Say first your neighbors. Even Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, when they asked him, he said your neighbors, 7 neighbors around you from each side. You know, to be kind with them, to be nice with them, to be generous with them. No matter what they do, no matter what they have done, you have to forgive them and you have to be good with them. This is the Islamic manners and etiquettes that we are learning and we are teaching to others. People are 2 types, either brothers and sisters in faith or equal in humanity. All of us, we are belonging to Adam and Eve. All of us, each and everyone have 2 hands, 2 feet. So you never find somebody have 4 hands and 4 feet. Otherwise, it will be an Elliot or something strange and different. All of us, we are the same. All of us, we have to get the same treatment equally like each other. This is what our Islam teaching us. And if there is any problem from me, don't blame Islam right away and attack Muslims. No, don't blame. Everywhere there is good, there is bad. Every religion, there is evil, there is good. This is the same. The religion never ever teach us to be bad, but we are teaching others to be bad. This is what we need to do. We need to be a good people. We need to learn and seek knowledge. This is all what I'm again and again and again I'm saying. Seek knowledge as much as you can. Search, learn the other religions, the other cultures, and don't put everything on top of each other. One person bad, not going to represent the whole community. One person bad, he's not going to represent the whole world. Like as Dr. Mustafa Khattab, he mentioned now, there is a chapter in the Quran under the woman, his name. It's called Surah An-Nisa, the woman. There is no chapter called Surah Al-Rijal, the men, which God honored the woman since created Adam, may peace be upon him. Islam honored the woman. She's my mom, she's my sister, she's my daughter, she's my grandmother, she's my neighbors, everything around us. If there is no woman, then how are we going to come to this world? This is how it is. We need to honor and respect each other equally and be kind and be nice with each other. We don't need to blame religion. We need to blame the person. Anyone he do a problem, he get the consequences for it himself. No one ever get the consequences of other people. This is what it is, and thank you.
Thank you for your question, Mohammed. It looks like we have one more hand up, and I think we're almost out of time, but let's do one more question. Sheila?
Hi, assalamu alaikum everyone. Good afternoon. It's not a question actually. I wanted to thank all the panelists for sharing their knowledge and their experience, and thank you so much to the Orangeville Public Library for arranging this platform. And one of the questions I think you asked about what impact it had, the Clear Quran, what impact it had on the community. So I just wanted to share what impact it had in my household, because when the the Clear Quran for kids was established, like it was printed out, I got one copy. And you can imagine how hard it is to keep the attention span of a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old. But the way this book was compiled with such colorful pictures and such simple language, such simple English, that my 7-year-old or my 6-year-olds would just sit with it like a storybook, and then they would read about it. And then they're actually reading about their culture, their religion, their God. And as Soha said, that in this culture of Islamophobia, it's very important for small kids to understand where they're coming from, and they should be proud of their religion, their culture. And so that is playing a very important role in my kids' lives. And I want to thank, and I didn't know that Imam Yehya and Soha was the editing team. So I'm really thankful to them for all the work they do for the community. And I'm so proud of Soha. Like, she's such an amazing speaker, and I don't know how she finds the time being a student, being part of all these things. But thank you so much for all that you do for the community.
Thank you, Sister Shala. I got some good news for you. We're gonna release the part 2 of the book in Ramadan, inshallah.
Inshallah.
So start saving.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that story. That was wonderful to hear. And I can only imagine keeping the attention span of a 7-year-old. I have a 3-year-old, and it's tough enough. So that's great that it works.
They love illustrations and stories, and this is what the book is all about. And we feature stories from all over the world, from Africa, Asia, Europe, Canada, the US, stories about Muslims and non-Muslims. So there's so much to learn from everyone.
By the way, Sister Shala's kid, the 3 kids, Ibrahim and Ayan and Rayan, one of my best ever students that I met in my life. They're very smart and very good people. They learn quick. And she and her family, they're one of the best supportive of the Muslim community in Dufferin here. Yeah.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Looks like we're out of time. So on that note, that wonderful note, thank you everyone for coming today. It was really wonderful.